Judgement, which dismissed the appeals filed by the Tanimu Turaki-led People's Democratic Party, PDP, challenging decisions of the Federal High Court, which voided the November 15 and 16, 2025 convention. We now have here live in our studios Jungodo Mohammed, PDP National Publicity Secretary, to talk more on the Supreme Court ruling of today. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you for being in your studio.
All right, so before you came in, we listened to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, who could tell how happy he was about today's judgment. So you tell us, as a representative of the PDP, of course you're the National Publicity Secretary, what does it feel? How do you feel about today's judgment? Not just feel, but what is the party's reaction to it?
Well, it is not just only the Honorable Minister that is happy. I think every well-meaning PDP member, and indeed Nigerians who have been yearning and calling for a viable opposition, calling that there shouldn't be a one-party situation in this country. I think with this judgment that has finally led to rest all the disputes surrounding the PDP, I think the PDP will now say 2027, here we come. We are so much delighted. We applaud the speedy dispensation of this judgment and justice by the Apex Court, and we must commend them, and we must appreciate every member of the party who has stood firm, believing that, yes, we are indeed on the right part of the law.
Okay, now what does this mean also for the leadership situation of the PDP? Because even with reports, official handle of the PDP on X did post about suspensions that were upheld, you know, in the past as well in the party. So
yes, you need to know that the person handling all the social media handles of the PDP has, you know, committed serious mutiny by being with the Kabiru Tanimu Turaki all along. Okay. They have just been meddling or peddling rumors. The Supreme Court is not a court of first instance. It's not a court where you bring in fresh evidences. They are just a court that will review the judgments of the Court of Appeal. And at no time that the issues of Abdurrahman Mohammed Ainyawu was brought before the Federal High Court. All along, the issues instituted at the Federal High Court was do not conduct convention until certain things are complied with. Basically, and fundamentally, the issues before the Federal High Court were issues bordering on conduct of convention. Should the convention go on or it shouldn't go on? There was no time. The issues, even Abdurrahman Mohammed that we are talking about here, was never an acting chairman of the PDP, as at the time that convention was asked not to be conducted by the party. So at what point in time did that matter get before the Federal High Court, talk more of it being appealed to the Court of Appeal and then now to the Court of Appeal? It is just a way of consoling people who have been completely drawn.
Well, I do think that they have a right to go to the courts. Everyone has a right, you know, human right to do that.
Oh, yes.
To go to the courts when aggrieved.
Yes.
But let me bring you to this issue. The minority judgment centered on the issue of jurisdiction. And two justices noted that the issues centered around internal affairs of your political party in which the courts have no jurisdiction. So for me now, what is next with this ruling?
No, minority judgment is inconsequential as far as this thing is concerned, except if you want to go and meet INI and the rest and begin to ask them about this. My own interest was on the majority decision of the Supreme Court, which is what becomes law as far as today's judgment is concerned. I am not bothered about, but if you want to ask me about what is the way forward for the leadership, yes, the leadership is being handled and spearheaded and then led by Abdurrahman Mohammed, as you have seen the Supreme Court validating that and finalizing that as of today. And we have charted so many beautiful programs that tends to bring the PDP back. Look at the schedule of our our activities, line up to the primaries in a build-up to see how we can challenge the APC come 2027. The Reconciliation Committee, which we are looking at, various individuals with the rightful pedigree that will champion that reconciliation.
Okay, now you talked about reconciliation.
Yes.
Is it Turkey X, or since the minister said there's no faction again?
There's no faction. So it's not
the minister did not say it.
Side, who was part of the opposition convention which happened in Oyo State, is the minister also looking towards those individuals who were in that, because they are actively now working against the current leadership?
It is not the minister that said there was no faction. The court said so.
Yes, what I'm saying is the minister willing to work to reconcile with those people?
My question is the minister the chairman or a member of the NWC of the PDP? If you want to ask the minister, go and ask the minister if he wants to reconcile with other people he has issues with. But for us, PDP National Working Committee is not the same thing as Honorable Minister of the FCT.
Okay, so for the PDP
so for
National
us as NWC, I have just told you, we are looking across the country where we can have men and women of integrity that will help drive this reconciliation process.
Okay, so finally, as a political party now, let's leave the minister out of this. Are you making any move to reconcile with the Turaki faction?
Yes, I have just answered you. It is not for us at the moment to begin to meet them. It is that reconciliation committee that we intend to put forward that will help us achieve this.
Okay. Yes. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very
for coming
much.
into our studios.
You didn't congratulate me.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. All right, so we'll be speaking to Jungodo Mohammed, PDP National Publicity, the secretary. We've been talking about today's judgment on the PDP convention and all its party activities.
And away from that, a wild drama was reported to have occurred at the Minna High Court number 6 when a herdsman, Musa Nagowa, was sentenced and convicted to life imprisonment by Justice Baliksu Yusuf. During the reading